Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Right Time, a Wave Sports and Entertainment original presented by Prize Picks. My name is Bomani Jones. Thanks for listening wherever you get your podcast. Thanks for watching us on YouTube. Subscribe, like, rate us, review us, give us 5 stars. You only give us 4 stars. I'm inclined to believe you are a hater. Be sure to check out the Right Time YouTube channel. Lots of exclusive content there. YouTube only at the Right Time YouTube channel. Be sure to check that out. We're going to talk about a lot of people that got disrespected a little later in the show. Also, rest in peace to Quincy Jones. We'll probably get to that on the YouTube channel tomorrow. But in the meantime, how many of y'all watched the best team in the NFL play yesterday? I understand that there's an undefeated team in the NFL that is playing on Monday night, but on Sunday, the best team in the NFL was playing in the America's game, the game of the week. They were playing their first game outdoors. It was in the rain. It was against the Green Bay Packers, and the best team in the NFL looked like the best team in the NFL and just steamrolled those boys. And the best team in the NFL is our Detroit Lions. How many of y'all done jumped on? Who's joined us? Who's coming on, man? Like, I had some people tell me that they feel like there's still room. One thing I appreciate about the Lions fans is they seem to be welcoming more people on. Like, I don't feel like I have the right to speak for the entire fan base. I mean, I have been there since the beginning of the 2020s, but I haven't been here as long as some of the other people have. So I don't want to invite people over to their house. I still feel like a little bit of a visitor, right? I mean, granted, I bought at a fairly low price, but I still feel like a little bit of a visitor. But at the same time, I'm just here to tell you guys, if you out here looking for a team, why don't you come over here? It's a whole lot of people, as I understand it, in New Orleans with paper bags on their heads. They just fired their coach. Stop being losers. Actually, no, you stay exactly where y'all are. We don't need any of you, to be perfectly honest. Like, stay. Y'all got a stench on you. But as for some of you other guys, I'm just kind of looking around the league right now, and I'm like, hey, man, you might want to, get over here and start hollering at some winners. Hey, Cowboys fans, I'm going to be honest, man. Y'all are a real loyal bunch. I think that y'all get a bad rap. Y'all are fans that I like as much, if not more, than other people. You can keep a silver and blue motif if you want to come over here and know what it feels like to feel good about what's going on. Like, I be watching the videos of Dan Campbell when he give away them game balls after the game, man. And I'm like, I'm so glad that he's our coach. I actually said we during the game, man. Like, I thought that was a bogus call when they ejected Brian Burns for that hit to the head. It was a hit to the head, but I didn't think he should have been ejected. And then I finally understood what they was talking about with them shirts, man. It was Detroit versus everybody, man. I was like, oh, we gonna have to beat the refs too. And somebody actually had to say to me, did you say we? And I did. Sean, you seem to you with me, right? Like, I guess your 6-3 Atlanta Falcons. I can't imagine all the lies you over there telling yourself right now.
No, I really felt when, because I was watching that game and I saw you tweet the Brian Branch stuff. I was like, it seems like now Bo is really the true Lions fan. It's us against everybody, and you even mentioned you might get merch. So I'm like, okay, you're fully invested.
The merch is on the way. I ordered a clean hoodie off of there, right? No. The merch is on the way. I need something to wear in New Orleans down in February. You know what I'm saying? But no, I'm just telling you. And for those of you who are a little bit late on this, I decided I wanted to get back to like being a fan of a team. I've been a fan of a game, a pundit and analyst, whatever you want to call me for hosting these shows and talking about this stuff. But I wasn't getting to have the fun. And I realized that I couldn't allow what happened to me with the Falcons to sour me on love forever. And so I was like, okay, let me see if I can find me a team. But I didn't want to get a team that was already good that felt like cheating, like playing the Oregon Trail with the banker. You know what I'm saying? That didn't feel appropriate. But at the same time, I mean, let's be honest here. Do I look like a loser to you? I'm not a loser, and I was not going to be jumping on board with losers like the Carolina Panthers, the New Orleans Saints. I hate to say it because I want better for you, but Raiders fans, man, y'all been losers since I've been able to drink for real. The Jaguars, whoo-hoo, losers. The Titans, that's what y'all get for disrespecting the Oilers, you losers. The Patriots, they look like a bunch of losers. I don't think the Dolphins are losers, but they sure are doing a bunch of losing. And, of course, the Jets. I thought about the Jets. There was a little while that I thought about getting on that jetpack. I like what Saleh was doing. I like how the defense was going. They just didn't have a quarterback at the time. And then they went and got Aaron Rodgers, and I don't want him on my team. Like, I felt like I had my choice, but I looked at all of it, and I got inspired by the Lions. I appreciated the fact that Dan Campbell was out here trying to fix the whole racist hiring regime all by himself. He had a black offensive coordinator and a black defensive coordinator. He fired the black offensive coordinator, but I can't be mad, man. That white dude he hired after that is a boss, but his name is Ben Johnson. Shit, he might have thought he was black. Keep it real if they just gave him a stack of applications and they didn't give him no pictures. You know, you might have thought that dude ran the 100 meters in 9.79. Either way it goes. But they're actually good. Like, Sean, they have a problem. They can't rush the passer. I think they're going to make the trade for Zadarius Smith or go get somebody that can do that. But otherwise, man, I don't care what anybody says. A team that's really good at running and just hits you in the mouth and runs like they do, and when Gibbs gets it, looks so fast when they doing it, bruh, that's fun.
I mean, we talked about it a couple weeks ago when Jared Goff threw for like 90 yards and a couple touchdowns and they won the game. It's like, if you can run it down people's face and just like ruin their day. Chris Long famously this year has done a Lions hangover bit where if you're the team that loses to the Lions, chances are the next week you get beat even worse by no matter who you play. And it's because that team really beats you up.
They are beating you up, man. They're 7-1 so far. I do believe they're the best team in the NFL. In fact, my guy Aaron Schatz, I can't remember where Aaron works right now. I used to have Aaron on the radio all the time, so I'm very accustomed to saying another outlet that he doesn't work for. So I wanted to make sure I did not say that. He is at FTN Fantasy. That is where Aaron Schatz works. He's the guy that does DVOA. This is real talk, Sean. The Lions are one of the best DVOA teams of all time. Like, through 8 games per Aaron Schatz, the Lions have the 5th highest DVOA. The 5th highest through 8 games. And I know a lot of you don't know what DVOA is. It's actually a very interesting statistical technique. It captures how good teams are, but the way it captures it is by basically looking at how a team performs based on the distance necessary on the down. So that way, say you get 13 yards on a completion, but it's 3rd and 15. Let's stop acting like 13 yards is the same if it came up 2 yards short of the sticks. You know what I mean? So it calculates through that. But to understand this, the teams that are above them, the 07 Patriots that went undefeated, the 91 Washington team that's probably the best team I've ever seen, the 85 Bears, whom your grandfather has probably told you about many times, and it makes me very sad to refer to them in that way. They are like the 27 Yankees were when I was a child. That's how long it's been, Bears fans. And then the 07 Colts, who I don't really remember, but I bet they were pretty good. That's what they bring in through 8 games. This is who their comps are. That's how good, I tell you, good the Lions are. And sneakily, Sean, they're number 1 in special teams DVOA too. That's a big deal.
And there was that one game, the game we talked about where Goff didn't really throw for much, just because the special teams won the game for them. And they do it at all 3 levels. And something we talked about is they're doing this in the NFC North, which is arguably the best division in football right now.
Yeah, I mean, look, it helped them that Jordan Love seemed like he out there on one leg, and I hope he gets healthy. I ain't worried about his job like I would have been, because rightfully the Green Bay Packers went out there and got a quarterback to put as a backup behind their quarterback, and so that calms the people down, right? You don't wind up with a situation like in Indianapolis. And oh, by the way, I don't know if you guys knew this from last year. I tried to talk about it a little bit, and the results and the highlights hid the fact that Joe Flacco actually wasn't that good last year. Deshaun Watson was just terrible. You're not going to be happy with what you get. People weren't happy with what they was getting from Joe Flacco when he was at his best, except for that 1 month. I don't know why people think his old ass really going to give something to you right now, but neither here nor there. The Lions look terrifying. Let me tell you who else looked terrifying. Sean, did you get any opportunity to watch any of the game between the Ravens of Baltimore and the Broncos of Denver.
By the time I was ready to turn the channel to that game, the game was already over.
I watched it as the game began to become over. I need to tell you a couple things. Thing number one, Lamar Jackson is playing unfairly. Lamar Jackson right now, I have said many times over that Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback that I've ever seen. And I have seen Patrick Mahomes look better than this version of Lamar Jackson. I feel confident saying that. However, Patrick Mahomes is not as good right now as this version of Lamar Jackson. This version of Lamar Jackson is the best quarterback in the NFL. I guess we'll have to say the best player in the NFL. It doesn't look fair right now with him and Derrick Henry out there together.
No, I think this is like the first year the game is like really, really slowed down for him. And Mina has a bunch of tweets talking about like his drop back percentage and how good he is. But regardless if the Chiefs go undefeated, I think Lamar is the clear-cut MVP.
Yeah. And like the thing is, it always looks like he's playing darts, right? Like it looks like he's throwing it like this. And I think that that's one of the reasons there's the disconnect in talking about the way he passes is the way that it looks. Like I don't have a great gauge on relative to his peers how strong his arm is. Them throws seem to be getting there, but it's because of the way it looks when he throws the ball. I don't know how much it matters because he's so fast and he gets to all these positions or anything else, but he is getting it down the field and they are making that happen. And that boy Zay Flowers is out there doing it like they, and then just that whole Derrick Henry thing. No, Derrick Henry got his 100th touchdown this game. I saw something where somebody was raising the question as to whether or not Derrick Henry is a Hall of Famer. And I understand you guys have devalued the running back in a way that quite honestly makes me uncomfortable. If Derrick Henry is not a Hall of Famer in a career with a 2,000-yard season, another season where he won the rushing title, he's probably going to win the rushing title this year and might get another 2,000 yards. A couple other 1,500-yard seasons, double-digit touchdowns in 7 straight seasons, including a year where he only played 8 games and ran for 900 yards in the course of these 8 games. If he's not going to the Hall of Fame, what you're telling me is that we're not putting running backs in the Hall of Fame. If he's not going to the Hall of Fame, what you're telling me is that running backs are punters. You're telling me that running backs are place kickers. You're telling me that there are long snappers. You're telling me that they are that irrelevant. And I don't know if you have watched the Baltimore Ravens this year, but I do not believe that there is any way that you can make an argument that running backs do not matter given what the hell is going on with him on that team and what they out here doing to people. And that offense is having to do this in spite of a defense that, okay. I try not to be too hard in talking about like when teams aren't good or whatever, because they're better at their jobs than I am in my job. There's all kinds of other factors that tie in, whatever it is. But I'm going to say this to you right now, Baltimore Ravens, and I understand that you don't have your full assortment of cornerbacks, right? You don't have all your defensive backs. I get you. I feel you, but I need you to understand this. I saw y'all get mossed by Bo Nix. Now, I understand that some of you who are listening are a little bit confused. You're like, what do you mean? Well, when Bo Nix mossed them, who was he throwing the ball to? That's not what I said. Bo Nix caught a touchdown pass in that game, jumped in the air, and got it with a defender on him. Ray Lewis's Baltimore Ravens, Ed Reed's Baltimore Ravens got housed by a dude that ain't even really good at playing quarterback. And he mossed y'all.
That's one of those.
Y'all need to fix that.
That's one of those we've won, but at what cost, you know?
Yes. It's like, you've like, if that happened on your watch. That's all I'm saying. That happened on your watch. I do still think, though, these are the 2 best teams in the NFL. Sean, can you convince me why I should be talking about your Atlanta Falcons?
I don't know. As someone who's still on the narcotic, I don't want to talk too highly of this team that's 6-3. It's like it's like a very modest 6-3 right now. But Kirk looks healthy. He's looking healthier each and every day. Kyle Pitts has just lost every week, but I don't know. I can't say I'm confident in this team right now.
The Cowboys are sorry. That's who they beat. They beat the Cowboys. The Cowboys are sorry and just got sorrier. Both Dak and CD Lamb need MRIs. They need MRIs. The wheels have come completely off the bus for them. And there was a play. I don't know if you saw this. I saw it online where Orlovsky was looking at this, and it was, I think it was a run that Bijan had, and he couldn't understand how it was that somebody moved in motion, or it was Drake London. I can't who it was, doesn't matter. He was like, yo, the Falcons have put somebody in motion, but nobody's following the motion man. I don't understand why nobody's following the motion man. And then he lets the play run, and it's a hat-on-hat everywhere, and he can't understand how it is that it's a hat-on-hat everywhere when somebody has the ball. There needs to be a hat that doesn't have a hat on it. Then he pressed pause and counted, bro. They had 10 people on the field. On a third down, Sean, they had 10 people on the field.
And still the Falcons only won by a touchdown or 6 points, you know? I'm trying to be modest here.
I hadn't thought about that part, but there you go. Even with Cooper Rush at the helm, bringing them back. That's where they were. Dog, they are. Cowboys. It's one thing when the Cowboys are bad and they're unremarkably bad, but they're bad and it hasn't even gotten to Thanksgiving, so America's going to get to watch them be bad. Let me go see who gonna beat them on Thanksgiving Day. Thanksgiving Day, they going to get beat. Oh my gosh, have you seen what the game is on Thanksgiving Day?
Is it Cowboys Giants? Oh no.
Yes, it is.
Oh no.
Oh, yuck. Gosh, that's not.
I would rather spend time with my family than watch Cowboys Giants.
Oh my gosh, I'd rather spend time with your family. I don't that's a real test, man. If it's Cowboys Giants and you still go to the basement talking about leave me alone, man, pack your shit and move. You know what I'm saying? Like you're not like what you staying for the kids? They can tell you unhappy.
That's one of those like perfect 2.5 hour blocks to take a nap. You know, it's a built-in snooze fest.
Yes. And I was about to say at least the Cowboys got a bye this week, but no, that's not true. They're going to play the Eagles. And I watched some of that Eagles-Jaguars game because the Baltimore game was over. And there's a scene in The Wire where somebody tries to buy a hot shot to set somebody else up to die. And he asked him if the hot shot was going to work. And the dude that sold him to him said, yeah, I'm going to paraphrase a little bit for the audience. But he says it's easy to kill somebody that's about the business of killing themselves. That was what it was like watching the Eagles and the Jaguars. Like, you want to talk about a game where I looked up, I was like, oh, damn, that's right. They haven't fired Doug Peterson yet. Because remember, they was over there in London, but then they won the last game against the Patriots. So they haven't fired their coach yet, and the Eagles clearly need to fire their coach. He just be out there doing stuff. Like, they were up 16-0, and he went for a 2-point conversion. What are you doing? Like, do you have, like, is he playing one of them games where you got the squares for the last numbers? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he's got ulterior motives. I don't know what he's doing because they should have won that game by like 30 points and he just continued to shoot himself in the foot. But they won because, like you said, Doug Peterson's still the coach of the Jaguars.
Yo, so an interesting thing about Peterson that I just thought about right now, and that a big part of why they hired him is because they needed somebody to work with Trevor Lawrence, right? Like, their belief that they had a generational prospect, and they wanted somebody to work with him. And, I mean, Doug Peterson won a Super Bowl with Nick Foles. But the other thing with Peterson was that Peterson worked with Carson Wentz when we had some pretty good feelings about Carson Wentz, right? We don't feel good about Carson Wentz at all at this point. I don't even know, like, who he play for. Let me look that up. I mean, I know who he has played for. I was right. He's Patrick Mahomes' backup. That's how lightly regarded he is. He's got a job that nobody thinks he'll ever play. Like, he's like, I would say he's the guy you give the job behind Anthony Richardson if you want somebody to beat out Anthony Richardson, except the Colts already had him, and they were like, no, we don't want to do this. In fact, they had him, and that made them say, yo, let's go draft a guy that's only started 10 games before. That is like what Carson Wentz brought out. But he got that because of basically a reputation. He worked with he played with, coached with the Chiefs. But like you thought that he could do something with Trevor Lawrence. And Trevor Lawrence seems to be falling off, not the same way that Carson Wentz fell off, but similar to how Carson Wentz fell off. It's almost like by accident, Doug Peterson is doing exactly what they paid for. They just didn't know that that was what they were paying for. The NBA is officially back, which means you could turn $10 into $1,000 in a single game watching your favorite teams only on Prize Picks. You can make a Prize Picks lineup between the NFL and the NBA in as little as 60 seconds. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and an enormous selection of players and stat types are what make Prize Picks the #1 fantasy sports app. But rather than hearing from me, let's hear from an expert picker. Sean, how the picks going for you?
I guess I'm solely an expert because of the sheer volume of picks I make, but it's definitely been nice to have the NBA back, to add a little more variety in my picks along with the NFL. Plus, Prize Picks invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. Prize Picks offers weekly promotions that could lead to big payouts like Taco Tuesday each Tuesday. Prize Picks discounts select players' projections up to 25% to provide you even more value for your lineups.
There we go. So make sure you go to prizepicks.com/Bomani and use code Bomani for a first deposit match up to $100. That's prizepicks.com/Bomani. Prize Picks, daily fantasy sports made easy. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. Let's take a moment to say thank you to someone in your life. Whether it's your therapist, loved one, or a friend who really listens to you. It's always helpful to show some gratitude. Sean, is there anybody in your life you want to send some thanks to?
For me, Bo, I'm always thankful to my friends and family who have been with me through all the good times and the bad. And while this month is all about gratitude towards those people in our lives, there's another person we don't get to thank enough, and that's ourselves. It's sometimes hard to remind ourselves that we are trying our best to make sense of everything in this crazy world, and that isn't easy. So here's a reminder to send some thanks to the people in your life, including yourself.
If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Celebrate the progress you've already made. Visit BetterHelp.com/Bomani today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Bomani. All right, so talk to the homie J Long. Well, I hadn't talked to him about this yet. I told him it was coming because it's like we have a recurring theme in the conversation that we have for a long time. He and I have been bouncing ideas off each other for many years. A lot of them wind up coming to the show. It makes me better. It makes everything better. But it's a 5-word phrase that comes up often and explains a lot of things that come up in sport, that come up in life, that just kind of come up in the news and on your reckless social media feeds. Disrespect will not be tolerated. And this weekend, we had 3 examples of what at the very least were interpretations of disrespect and how those interpretations of disrespect were handled and then subsequently received by the general public. Now, I will start with what I believe, per my recollection, was the first example of interpreted disrespect to happen this weekend, going in chronological order. And this happened on Saturday morning, where there was a bit of an altercation between what I'm assuming is a student at Penn State University and Wave Sports and Entertainment podcasting star Jason Kelce. And Sean's going to pull it up here. You can see this video here, and I'll talk you through it if you're not, able to see because you're listening. But Jason Kelce was minding his own business, and somebody said something crazy to him. And then after saying something crazy to him, Jason Kelce went and snatched up the young man's phone and smashed it to the ground and turned back around on him what he said to Jason Kelce. Now, you may be wondering, what would he say to Jason Kelce, who seems like quite the amenable gentleman, that would make him go and take the phone out of that man's hand? And by the way, that phone, don't do that. phones have a very high dollar value, and that often takes you up from a misdemeanor to a felony. Just an FYI for you guys. But anyway, what had happened was this guy said to Jason Kelce, what about how does it feel that your brother is an F word for dating Taylor Swift? At which point, Jason Kelce turned around, grabbed a man's phone, threw it on the ground, and said, who's the F word now? And then kept it moving. Sean, I have met Jason. You know him a bit better than I do. He is small for his NFL position. He's pretty big as a guy in the media.
Yeah, I mean, he just has a presence. He's very dense. I've seen the man house a plate of wings, and just from watching that, I was like, that's not a guy I want to mess with.
Dog, I did the dap hug with him, man, and my arms ain't that long, baby. It was kind of hard to get around to, like, do my full part, man. These are big motherfuckers. I just don't think people understand how big these dudes are. I can't imagine Breaking Bad with a dude that big, especially not in the morning. Like, dog, we just got here.
Yeah, at the start of a tailgate. And for the record, like, he could not be sweeter, could not be nicer, more generous. But yeah, again, from a superficial standpoint, that is a guy when you look at, you do not want to mess with.
No. You don't want to do that. And so I've seen a few different, like, thoughts about this or whatever, and I've seen some people that seem to have wished that Jason Kelce had actually stopped and given the dude a lecture about what was wrong with the word. And no, that wasn't going to happen. You know what Jason Kelce understood? This man intended disrespect toward me. That is the only thing that he heard. Because I don't know if you noticed this, Sean, or you do notice this, is that in just about every media story about this or every post, the phrase that got used was, man calls Jason Kelce a homophobic slur.
Yep.
And they're not doing this because of any homophobia in the moment. They're just doing it because they know you know what it means when they say a homophobic slur. When somebody gets in the news and says that somebody uses a homophobic slur, you know exactly what that one is. Like, remember when this reports came out that John Gruden called Roger Goodell a homophobic slur? Not only did we know what he meant, we knew that it was over. Right?
Yeah, there's the one word you just cannot say.
He out here calling DeMar Smith soup coolers or whatever it was he said about his lips. You can survive that. He called Roger Goodell a homophobic slur, and it was like, stop right here. Why? Because disrespect will not be tolerated. This dude wasn't even actually implying that Travis Kelce was gay. And I say that he wasn't even trying to imply that Travis Kelce was gay because logically, Sean, I asked you, maybe you can help me out. Logically, break down the logic of the sentence where I will use the word gay where the slur was used. Hey, Jason, how's it feel to know that your brother's gay for dating Taylor Swift? That is not what gay means where I'm from.
No, not at all. And if it's like, there's a famous tweet that goes around, it's like, by gay I meant just stupid, which is how I guess people back in the day use it. But he did not mean it in that way.
No. He went to the height of disrespect. Like Eminem, when he used to try to defend how he used to talk, like the Marshall Mathers LP, he was like, oh, when I use that word, it doesn't even really mean gay. I'm just calling the guy. But then the rest of the album is all him talking bad about gay people, right? Even when he doesn't do that. No. You knew what you were doing. Here, this dude was just like, I'm going to say the most disrespectful thing that I can think of. And for white people, bet you hadn't thought about what I'm about to say. For white people, the F word is the N word. That is the, we got to fight right now just because you said that word for them. Maybe they throw it around with their friends on a ha-ha, but when somebody you don't like says it to you, you hear the disrespect, you know what it is, and that dude is lucky that the only thing that got spiked was his telephone because disrespect will not be tolerated. Joel Embiid, he felt disrespected this weekend. Now, I don't think we have talked very much about this on the show, but Joel Embiid decided that he is not going to play the back end of back-to-backs this year, right? We all understand, man, that boy's body kind of breaks down a little bit, but he's not going to play the back end of back-to-backs. That has not gone over well with a lot of people. It has not gone over well with me, I will be honest. And it also does not go over well with the people of Philadelphia, where Stephen A. Smith has made this point, and I think he's 100% correct. It's a city. New York is like this too, quietly, except for the Yankees. The Yankees is different. But, in fact, not even that much different because they still love Don Mattingly. All they want you to do is play hard. Like, if you win, that would be great too. But what they really want you to do is play hard. Okay, they love Charles Oakley, they love John Starks, they loved Anthony Mason. They just want you to go out here and play hard. The point that Stephen A. always made about Philadelphia is look at how much they love Allen Iverson through everything that came with Allen Iverson. And what didn't come with Allen Iverson was a championship, but Allen Iverson played hard, and that's what they want. And with Embiid, that's the part that becomes a bit questionable, is the play hard. And so then he comes and he says that he's not going to play the back end of back-to-backs. It's a columnist topic's dream. Sean, that him and Paul George haven't played very much. Your friendly reminder that Paul George, another Wave Sports and Entertainment podcast star, is in year 15. Right. By the way, it's a good thing we don't play no company games. Them jokers would show up like, can we get like a company intramural basketball team and y'all just go out and like go to rec leagues with Paul George or rec shop?
Our team would actually crush. You know, we have a pod with Carmelo Anthony, which you've been on frequently. I mean, he can still hoop. You know. That's
right. I'll be the coach. Travis, I bet he can hoop.
Little suit. Yeah.
I bet I could coach. But anyway, you know, they get a little ante up there in Philadelphia. Them tickets ain't free. You know what I'm saying? And so Philadelphia got a columnist named Marcus Hayes. And I do not know Marcus. And I want to be very clear that what I'm about to say is a technical specification of the role that he plays for the Philadelphia Inquirer. I am not casting any aspersions on Marcus Hayes as a man, but Marcus Hayes does a job that there's still some people who do, but there aren't as many who used to do it. It's a very particular job, and his job is he is the asshole columnist. He gets you riled up. When he decides it's time to take aim at you, he is going to take aim at you. And he wrote a column about Embiid not giving the fans their money's worth, and we're going to put it on the screen for the YouTube audience. I will read it to you, and this is where Marcus Hayes says, basically, he says that Joel Embiid points to the birth of his son, Arthur, as a major inflection point in his basketball career. He often says he wants to be great, to leave a legacy for the boy named after his little brother, who tragically died in an automobile accident when Embiid was in his first year as a Sixer. By the way, that was an interesting point to know, and I think Kyle Neubeck, who writes for a website up there and covers the Sixers, is good at this. He made a very good point about when Embiid talks about he sacrificed too much for this city for somebody to talk about him in the ways that he felt like he had been talked about. It's stuff like that he's talking about. Like his brother had moved to America, but they hadn't gotten together yet, and he died in a car accident. It's those kinds of things. All right, now if you put this back up on the screen, I'm going to read to you the part that made Joel Embiid a little upset. Well, in order to be great at your job, you first have to show up for work. Embiid has been great at just the opposite. Now in his 11th season, he consistently has been in poor condition. This poor condition apparently seems to have delayed his debut this season. Embiid won't play in Wednesday's opener or the next two games. Now, Sean, I need you to leave that up there for me, please, because Guys, I did not think this was nearly as disrespectful as other people thought it was. I didn't. But I did think it was wildly unnecessary, right? Where he says that he points to the birth of his son as an inflection point for his career, right? And he says that he wants to be great, to leave a legacy for the boy. He could have stopped right there. There was no need to go after that and then talk about how he was named after Embiid's brother who died in a car accident, right? Now, I don't think that Marcus Hayes cast any aspersions on his little brother. I don't think he cast any aspersions on the son. He did not speak ill of either one of them. He was speaking ill of Joel Embiid. That's who he was talking about, right? And I do believe that there is an element of hit dog gon' holler here. And I also personally do not approve of using your children and your family as part of the narrative that you use to build yourself up. Okay? That's a decision that Embiid made. He's the one who decided to tell us this, and it may be really his motivation. It may be really how he feels, right? But in the end, he is the one who put that out there. And if you are saying that you want to leave this legacy, I don't think it's unfair after you have broached it for somebody to then raise the question, are you living up to what you say you are? Right? I don't think that is wrong of Hayes to do. But I do think the fashion in which he did that was inflammatory, and he did bring up something that would be understandably very sensitive for Joel Embiid, the death of his brother. He did use that, even if in a small descriptive detail, he did use that to assail Embiid. I would understand why Joel Embiid would find that to have been disrespectful. And Sean, what did I say about disrespect?
I'm blanking.
It will not be tolerated.
Yes, it will not be tolerated.
Will not be tolerated. That's all it comes down to. Disrespect is not. It's not going to be. And to Embiid, it felt like disrespect. I don't even know if it was disrespect, to be honest. But that's not the point now, is it? I would understand how somebody would feel like that was disrespect. Anyway, apparently Joel Embiid pushed the dude in the locker room. I forgot to mention that point. He apparently pushed the dude. Maybe he hit the dude. We don't have the details. Maybe he'll wind up being suspended. All of this stuff. I would just say, given that disrespect will not be tolerated, I would be a little bit more careful about getting close to the disrespect line. That is just me. Speaking of disrespect not being tolerated, had a game in Toronto this weekend. They were retiring Vince Carter's number. Very big deal. Vince Carter had a very emotional moment. Vince, I did an alt cast with Vince. I will not say that he's the homie, but I like Vince. I will say congratulations to Vince, and you are officially a meme. In case you didn't know it, you're memed out forever, buddy. Anyway, in the course of this game, so I don't know, like, if you guys knew about this, but over the summer, there was this rap battle between Drake and Kendrick Lamar, and it turned into a fairly heated thing. And, well, Kendrick Lamar said that Drake and Toronto did not deserve DeMar DeRozan, former Toronto Raptor, who was a friend of Drake's. And then at the concert where Kendrick Lamar played Not Like Us about 15 times. Not Like Us was a very important diss record. It's very famous. Anyway, they played the song about 5-8 times, something like that. And DeMar DeRozan was on stage dancing in that. And then the video came out and DeMar DeRozan was in that. And you got to keep in mind that when DeMar DeRozan got traded from the Raptors to the Spurs and he was kind of down about it, he went over to Drake's house. Like, they're real friends. Or they were real friends. And then I could understand why it is that Drake would be upset about that. I don't think he's in the wrong for being upset about that. And apparently he spent the whole game sitting courtside, ice grilling DeMar DeRozan like he birdie from above the rim, calling him names, but not loudly, because my understanding is DeMar DeRozan couldn't hear any of the names that he was calling him, and he kept doing it all game long. And then got on the TV broadcast, and they were talking about retiring Vince Carter's jersey, and maybe the prospect of retiring DeMar's jersey, which they will, because he's probably the best player in the history of the franchise. They're probably going to retire his jersey. And Drake, so offended by the idea of that, was like, not DeRozan. If they retire his jersey, I'll climb up there myself and take it down, which prompted this response from DeMar DeRozan.
In tonight's broadcast, Drake said, if you ever put up the DeRozan banner up, I'll go up there and put it down myself. What's your reaction to that?
Well, he gonna have a long way to climb to take it down. So tell him good luck.
So I'm not gonna lie, I don't really know that much about DeMar DeRozan, other than he from Compton, and that could mean many things, right? Like, I try to be careful about just because you from a place, you know, like we can, somebody in that place getting their ass whooped too, you know what I mean? So like, it could go a bunch of different directions, unless we're talking about New Orleans. Not one sucker in the whole city limits. Just telling you this right now. Don't, not even Peyton Manning. Leave him alone. Ain't one sucker in the whole city limits. Anyway, They tell me DeMar DeRozan is not one to trifle with, Sean. They apparently say they call him Debo. I had a friend that say, let me tell you, DeMar family do not play.
Yeah,
that was the exact wording. DeMar family do not play.
I said it to you before the show. We had Vince Staples on back when I was at the Ringer for this video with Hannibal Buress, and Vince got a little like, someone brought up DeMar DeRozan, and Vince was like, his foot started shaking. He's like, no, we don't mess with DeMar. He's like, we don't talk about DeMar and his family. And because he knows, and then he was like, I'll tell you guys after the episode. And then the recording ends, and he's like, I still don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, and Drake, I feel where Drake is coming from. He was disrespected. And disrespect will not be tolerated. But you need to find a different way to intolerate the disrespect, Drake. This, unfortunately for you, son, this year has been all about you tolerating disrespect. I mean, I don't look, and I'm not even judging you for having to tolerate this disrespect. I don't really have a solution for any of the problems that you've had in the course of this year. Like you feel like all this disrespect that you've had to deal with, the last thing you're going to have to deal with it on top of it is to deal with it from DeMar DeRozan. I'm going to just put this to you right now. I'm going to just say this. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, okay? But this is just how it feels to me in my heart and what I want to express, okay? You guys ready? Just throwing it out there. If you had to tolerate disrespect from the dude that's 5'6", you're going to have to take disrespect from the dude that's 6'8". I don't even know if he's 6'8", but I'm just telling you right now, you took that shit off the littlest dude in Compton. You're going to have to take it off of one of the tallest dudes in the 6'6". Yeah, you're just going to have to take it, buddy. You're going to, maybe you guys can talk it out. Maybe you go chat with him or whatever it is. But brother, you're not. I want to be on your side. I really do. Because I imagine this really hurt. You found out the whole school don't like you. I know that can't be fun. And somebody you thought was your real man's, he turned out that maybe he didn't like you either. And I know the rules. Disrespect will not be tolerated. But they ain't tolerating no disrespect off of you ever again. Nobody's tolerating your. Whatever happened to when Drake just went away, right? Why don't you go off in the woods with a notepad and come back out with a flannel and an acoustic guitar? That's where you are in your career. It's time to get your acoustic guitar, and then you could make an album called Disrespect Will Not Be Tolerated. Hey, I love a great deal as much as the next guy, but I'm not going to crawl through a bed of hot coals just to save a few bucks. It has to be easy. No hoops, no BS. So when Mint Mobile said it was easy to get wireless for $15 a month with a purchase of a 3-month plan, I called them on it. Turns out, it really is that easy to get wireless for $15 a month. The longest part of the process was the time I spent on hold waiting to break up with my old provider. And if you don't believe me, Sean, tell them how easy it is to sign up.
To get started, go to mintmobile.com/Bomani. There you'll see right now all 3-month plans are only $15 a month, including the unlimited plan. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. You can use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number along with all your existing contacts. To get this new customer offer and your new 3-month premium wireless plan for just $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/Bomani. That's mintmobile.com/Bomani. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/Bomani. $45 upfront payment required, equivalent to $15 a month. New customers on a first 3-month plan only. Speed slower above 40 gigs on unlimited plan. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for more details.
Peloton is more challenging than most people think. You've been watching the show. You know I put on some muscle, and it's literally all thanks to Peloton. Peloton got your boy in the gym, and it's been one of the best things I've added to my weekly schedule. There's so many challenging programs to choose from, and Peloton even helps the top athletes get ready. Their custom strength workouts for the gym keep you on track to push your limits every time. Peloton is also a place to keep the spirit of competition alive. You can track the leaderboards to see who can get the largest output. Peloton classes and instructors like Alex Toussaint are designed to help focus on your needs and goals. Whether you prefer to run outdoors, row or ride at home, or strength train at the gym, Peloton has something for you. I genuinely use Peloton, and I'm actually getting the results I want thanks to their great programs. So if you want to join Peloton, head on over to onepeloton.com and get started on your fitness journey. Find your push, find your power with Peloton at onepeloton.com.
We know you can't be on top of all the news and information of the day. No need for the social media feeds. We got you. Now, if you haven't heard.
All right, here's our first one of the day.
In the 1990s, the world's catch of wild fish peaked, and so countries began to look for another source of seafood. They found it in aquaculture, or fish farming, the raising of fish in large ponds and tanks on land. Since the 1990s, fish farming has taken off, and the world now consumes more seafood from animals raised on fish farms than taken out of the ocean. It's been branded as a way to relieve exploited oceans, which had been repeatedly overfished. But it's come with a catch. Some of the most valuable farmed species, like salmon, trout, and shrimp, have to be fed some wild-caught fish. In other words, what was supposed to relieve pressure from oceans has become a new source of its exploitation. Now, about 1/5 of all fish taken from the ocean are fed farmed fish on land. And a new study has found that fish farms might be taking even more fish from the oceans than previously thought. Currently, the fish farming industry says that it takes about 1/5 of a wild-caught fish to produce 1 pound of farmed fish overall. But scientists from the University of Miami, New York University, and the conservation group Oceana say that it could be much higher, that it could take as much as 1/3 of a fish or even 2 whole fish to produce 1 pound of farmed fish. The rise of aquaculture has also driven demand for soy and corn crops, which are fed to farmed fish. That could be leading to more deforestation in critical ecosystems like the Amazon rainforest. The study paints a more complicated picture of fish farming's sustainable image, though its authors noted that more research is needed as little is known about the inner workings of the global fish farming industry.
Yeah, I gotta be honest. When I lived in Miami, I felt like the motto of that place was, we'll figure it out later. Like, you come up with an idea, you start it, and then you figure it out later. Like, it felt like a whole lot of fixing the plane in the air. And this seemed like a lot of easily foreseeable things that they're like, oh, we'll just think about later. And the reason it should have been easily foreseeable is capitalism, right? So if somebody's like, cool, so what we going to do is we going to come up with these fish farms, and then we going to grow the fish, and that's going to slow down the problem. Okay, cool. But whoever's in the fish farming business, they're not going to be happy with just one fish farm. They're going to try to sell as much of that fish as possible, which means that the fish farms are going to get bigger and bigger, and then they're going to need more fish, which completely defeats the whole purpose of the whole reason that they started it. You think nobody thought about that on the front end? I'm positive that somebody thought about that on the front end. And when somebody brought that up at the meeting, they was like, yeah, we'll figure it out later. And then they just kept that shit moving. But this is not like, oh, wow, I wonder why nobody thought of that. I guarantee you somebody thought of it. They just figured it would be some other generation's job to get it taken care of. And here we are.
There was the one guy in the room who raised his hand. It's like, guys, I think this might be a problem. And then everyone was like, no, it's going to make us a ton of money. Shut up, man. And now here we are.
Wow, you want to guess who, by the way, is on Bill Belichick's podcast with Jim Gray? That I think used to be Jim Gray's podcast with Tom Brady, but now is Bill Belichick?
I hope it's not his girlfriend.
No, it is not. It's the night before election.
Is it one of the?
Oh, yes, it is. 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 And I just saw this as we talking. And the only thing I'm gonna say about that is this: if there's anybody that I don't think has much of a tolerance for meandering conversation with no actual point, you know what I'm saying? Like I just want to see the faces that come up there.
Yeah, there's some good meme potential out of that one.
Absolutely. Let's go to the next one.
I'm Eve Upton-Clark, a Business Insider contributor, and I just wrote a story about how Gen Z are reshaping the fragrance industry. This generation has graduated from Victoria's Secret body mist and is after something a little fancier. Perfume is no longer an afterthought sprayed on while running out the door. It's part of Gen Z's personal brand. When e-commerce took off, it created a problem for the fragrance industry. How are people supposed to know what scent they're buying if they can't spritz it through their screen? Instead of buying a scent based on smell, young people started making purchases based on influencer recommendations on TikTok, with viral scents often selling out overnight. Perfume talk posts are often miniature personal essays designed to evoke emotions and memories. Instead of picking one signature scent, the people I spoke to for this article have collections that go well into the hundreds. For Gen Z, it's all about the scent wardrobe.
Sean, do you count as Gen Z?
No, I believe I'm still a millennial. Thank God.
Okay. I only know one thing about these Gen Zers, and you tell me if I'm wrong. They ain't got no money. All I hear about is how the whole game is rigged against them, and they can't get no money. They can't stack no money. So what they do is they spending their money on perfume. They spending their money on these.
And hearing that some of these people have multiple fragrances, my fiance likes fragrances. She wanted a refill on one, and I went to the store and looked. And when the lady told me the price, I walked out. I was like, for a bottle of juice.
Yeah. So let me ask this question, because I don't know how far this travels outside of my cultural specifications that I'm about to bring up here. But do white folks got the oil, man? Like, there's somebody with a stand or with a store that's got oils that are the same as what you're talking about here, and you put a little drop of the oil in with some lotion, and then you put it on, and then boom, voila, it does the exact same thing. I understand if you want the luxury or whatever it is, I got you. I'm gonna throw something else out there because I don't know how the Gen Zers get down, especially white folks, because I be hearing different things. But let me tell you something that I know it worked real good. They love it. They love how it smells. Soap. Ain't nothing beating soap. Nothing at all. And I'm just and fellas, I'm telling you right now, if she like you, she gonna like how you smell. Okay? And you can put together whatever your little blend or whatever it is that you come up with, I'm just telling you, you can do the same thing for a whole lot cheaper. I didn't know if this was gender specific and talking about these luxury fragrances. All I'm telling you is your broke asses don't need to be spending your money on this if you want to accomplish the same thing. Because, I mean, look, this is just me. And I've done some cologne in my day. I'm not going to pretend like I haven't gotten into any of these zones, right? Then I got around and I realized it. Man, I ain't never pulled Lady the First based on my cologne. It did not work. It did not go that way. And in fact, I don't think this is actually the fun part. I don't know how this goes for this younger generation. But for a certain range of people in a certain generational space, cologne make you smell like a con artist. Not because your cologne smell like con, but them dudes that wear all that cologne, you know who I'm talking about. Like, as I described that, like them TikTokers talk about, they describe the cologne and it's an experience. You know who I'm talking about here. You know exactly what I'm talking about. It's the old heads, it's the cat that got the brute. You know, confidence is very sexy. You know, like they like all them cats. Then you get like the Axe body spray types or whatever it is. Trying too hard with your smelling gives a vibe that you're not being honest. Being subtle with it. That's the way that you need to go. That's just putting you up on.
You're hiding something if you're wearing that much cologne. It doesn't matter what you're
That's
hiding.
right.
I know you're hiding something.
That's right. But yo, go find an oil man. Oil man to do the job for you for cheap.
Yep. All right. Here's our last clip.
Hi there. My name is Dylan Matthews. I'm a senior correspondent at Vox, and I recently reported out a story on prediction markets. You may have seen these things in coverage of the 2024 presidential election or maybe in some Senate elections. They're basically markets where people can bet on different sort of elections and other events. So you can bet on whether Trump or Harris is going to win. You can bet on the margins by which they'll win. You can bet on which states they'll win. You can bet on the Senate candidates. And there's a few different markets like this. The longest running one that's common in the US is called Predict It, which is actually a university project. But 2024 is unusual in that we've gotten two really, really big non-academic projects. One is called Polymarket, which has literally billions of dollars in its main market for the presidential election. Polymarket runs based on crypto. Technically, Americans are not supposed to participate in it, and by making bets, in practice, many do. It's very easy to do with a VPN. The other is called Kelce, which has been sort of waging a multi-year fight against regulators for the right to allow official contracts on U.S. elections, and they recently won a court case about this, and so have started offering them. And that is explicitly allowed in the U.S. and is, in fact, only allowed in the U.S., so people outside the U.S. are not allowed to bet in the Kelce markets. So there have been a lot of questions about these things since the election has been ongoing. People have questions about whether they're biased toward Republicans. They do seem to give Trump better odds than the polls do. There have been some questions about whether they're being manipulated by Trump supporters or buying up Trump contracts. So my piece sort of goes through the history of these things. We've been having bets on elections literally for centuries. In the U.S., Wall Street used to do election betting going back to the 19th century through about 1940. And we have a lot of evidence that economics researchers have looked at that generally prediction markets work pretty well. They tend to be as or a little more accurate than polls. They seem to show sort of lower sort of variance and lower standard errors, which means that they get more accurate earlier in the election cycle. When I looked into the evidence of manipulation, it doesn't seem clear that you're seeing attempts to manipulate. And it's sort of hard to distinguish between attempts to manipulate and people who sort of genuinely want to make a bet. A lot of people think Trump is going to win this election and they won't make bets accordingly. And that's not manipulation. That's just someone making a bet. And I think that's the great virtue of these markets, whether you love them or hate them, that they force people to put money on the line. And so if you're betting on them and you're wrong, or if you're trying to bias the results in a particular way, chances are you're going to lose a whole bunch of money. And hopefully that incentive means that you're getting results that are pretty useful.
I understand my man's logic at the end. I really do. But over here in sports world, we know not to connect gambling and good sense. Just saying that right now. I would also like to ask / make this point, however we wish to put it. I don't know about you guys, but I feel as though the stakes on this election are high enough. I do not need to add anything to make this more thrilling or more stressful. No sirree, Bob. I just need this to be over. It's enough as it is. I can't imagine how I'd feel if this went wrong and I lost money. I can't imagine how I'd feel if it went wrong, but I made some money off of it, so everything was okay. Because I don't know what would happen if my parents found out that I ever engaged in such behavior. I just want to get to Wednesday. Is that okay? Is that it? Sean, are you betting any money on the thingamabopper?
Absolutely not. It's not on Prize Pick, so you'll not see me making a pick on it.
There we go. There we go. That's how you do this. There we go. There we go. Let's get to the next part of the show.
All right, today's prompt was a time you fumbled the bag, mainly in relation terms or with another woman. So we got some really, really great responses. Here's the first one.
What's up, Bo? What's up, Sean? So I actually called in last week about the brawl that took place at my 8th grade recognition with the priests and the parents and everything for the basketball game.
Oh, wow.
Just 2 quick clarifying points. One is that it actually took place in Pittsburgh. You guys are saying Philly, but similar vibe, in terms of the demographics you guys are talking about. And the second point is you were also right. Everybody was white. So just wanted to clarify that real quick. And I've got another one actually also took place in Pittsburgh. Literally the year later, my biggest fumble. I was on my high school sports team. I was on one of the teams and I was a freshman. And I got invited by the seniors to go hit the wave pool with some of the older guys. And there's going to be some senior girls there too. Huge come up for me. We're going to the Settlers Cabin wave pool. If anyone's around Pittsburgh, you know. And we're sitting on the deck of the wave pool under that hot Pittsburgh sun. And I say something like, man, it's hot out here. And one of the senior girls, her name was Jen. I'll never forget her, man. She goes, oh, I'm going to get some sunscreen on your back. I'll get some sunscreen for your back. And I was just like, didn't even think about it. Not even 1 second of thought. I was like, no, I'm all right. No, I'm good. Don't worry about it. And every single dude who was the seniors there, their heads turned like it was like The Exorcist. It was like, oh, like looking at me. And they're like, no, man, you need some sunscreen. And I was like, no, I'm good. What do you need? It's no problem. And I don't think I even realized what was going on till sophomore year even. And probably one of my biggest fumbles, man. I'm 31 years old now. I'm still talking about it. I called into a podcast to talk about it. And I don't know where she is, but she's not with me. Love the show.
Yeah, it's tough. That's a tough break, homie. Your situation is understood. That's a tough break. That's a mistake I would have made as a freshman in high school.
100%.
Absolutely.
I feel that.
Absolutely.
The sunscreen, someone I don't really know, and you're in an uncomfortable situation. But man, what a missed opportunity.
Yeah, it never would have dawned on me, to be honest, right? But at the same time, man, you wasn't paying attention to the skin cancer lecture at school. Like, I'm going to be honest, me and my people kind of roll our eyes at that thing. But y'all, ain't that life or death?
Yeah, it was a genuine need. It's like, you really need this.
Yo, bro, that's basically like if somebody came to me and was like, yo, you need to go get screened for sickle cell. All right, I should probably look into that.
All right, here's our next one.
Hey, Bo, Sean, what's going on? This is D out of Atlanta. First time, long time. So I'm going to use a sports analogy at the end of this story. It's going to bring it all together. But I was with one woman, and fortunately things were going into, us going separate ways. And that's when I ran into another girl, and her name was Mel. And me and Mel, we bonded and everything was cool. We were like on the same level, same humor and everything. Little Spanish joint. She was about 5'5". And, yeah, so I'm still with my, current girlfriend at the time, but I'm kicking it with Mel. So Mel comes over the house. We had just had dinner. And we just, talking it up, and she asked me to throw on some game tape if I had any. Now, if you're catching what I'm putting down. I was like, oh yeah. I like to watch some game tape. Yeah, I can put some game tape on right now. So every red-blooded American, every red-blooded male knows what that means. So I put it on. We're sitting there, we watching it, and explain to me why I didn't go the entirety of the West. So we're watching the game tape, and we're both sitting on my bed with the game tape playing, and she's like, wow, that's crazy. I'm like, yeah, isn't it? And long story short, the game tape goes off. We're back in my car. I'm taking her back to her house. And it just never went all the way it was supposed to go. So, Mel, if you're hearing this, hit me up. But that was the biggest fumble, bro. If she asks you to put on game tape, don't just watch. Play it out.
Sean, does he mean what I think he means?
I had to listen to the clip a couple times. He wanted to use a sports analogy, so he used game tape as, I think, what we both are talking about, which is the biggest fumble I've ever heard in my life.
I don't even know if fumble. She asked to watch You telling me that and he thought it was just them?
Yeah.
What did y'all talk about when it was on? So you try. You know, my mom's listening, right? So she's not going to hit you up. Whatever he said her name was, she's.
Absolutely not.
What's number three?
Hey, bro. I'm going to try to keep this short because there's just a lot of little details. So, greatest bag fumble ever for me, far and away, was in spring of 2015. My aunt was staying in D.C. at the time. I just got done doing some midterms. I just needed a weekend to go chill. She said, come on over. I said, say less. So I came on over. And then she said, well, my friend and I are going to go watch the show at the Howard Theater. Now, I'm not familiar with the area yet. I've only been in Maryland for at that point, 6 months. So I'm like, all right, cool. I'd love to go. I'd love to visit, see what's up. Walk in here. I'm just wearing a regular shirt and regular clothes, nothing spectacular. And then I see Keith Sweat performing. And I realize I'm immediately the youngest person in the room by a lot. All right, I'm 19 at the time. But okay, cool. Meet up with my aunt's friend. We're hitting it off. We're chopping it up. They're talking and stuff. And then she says, hey, I got to go. I'll be right back. So I'm thinking she's going to go to the bathroom, go get a drink or whatever. Next thing you know, she starts singing next to Keith Sweat in the Howard Theater. I'm like, yo, aunt, who the hell is that? And she said, yeah, it's CeCe Peniston. And I'm like, that's CeCe Peniston. I was like, all right, I'm going to try to play it cool, try to, recollect myself because I'm in the presence of greatness at this point. We wound up going to a spot, little dive bar, open mic bar after the fact. And of course, CeCe's on the microphone and she starts singing to me, giving me instructions. I was her muse. And I'm trying to play it off and play it cool, but I have never in my black life been serenaded like this before. I'm 19 and I barely have any self-confidence. All good. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to see where this goes, try to play it cool. But apparently I didn't play it cool enough because when I thought we were going to meet up after the fact, never got a phone call, never got a text message, never got nothing else. So I'm like, all right, well, just head home. Apparently she told my aunt a week or so later, she said, yeah, to turn that young boy out. And, yeah, she's probably right. Anyway, that was a bag fumble. Never happened before, never happened since. My beef with Wilder, but dumb was founded. Love the show, love what y'all do. Thank you.
Hold on, to be fair to you, Playboy, you did not fumble, right? You did not, this is not your fault. But you needed to be inquiring once a year after that. Until, at some point, you were going to be tall enough to ride the ride. You know what I mean?
Letters.
You can't just give up forever.
I would have wrote letters every summer just to make sure she remembered.
Yeah, not even really too late now. No. I want to make sure you understand. You are actually the hero in your story, right? I've got a story that I would tell, but I'm not doing that. But you're the hero in your story. I'm sorry. After call number 2, I'm just. Did he say how old he was when that happened? Were they in college?
I don't know, college or high school. It seemed like he was young, and he shouted her out even, and I was just like, you can't shout her out after missing that kind of fumble.
Yo, I feel like the what she wanted to break down film, that would have been yeah, sure, okay. When y'all on opposite corners of the bed, I'm trying to imagine y'all in the room, and it don't.
You're hearing the noises and everything, and you drive her home after. That's all that happens. That's wild.
I'm surprised she let you do that.
I'll call a cab.
No, I'll walk. Well, I'll walk. And then next thing you know, hey, it's 2 hours later. Why are you just leaving? I thought you were going down to the lobby yourself. Yeah, I was. And then I wasn't. Found somebody who could read. Wow. Anyway, Sean, you got prize picks for the people?
We sure do. No fumbles here. Big Monday night game. Chiefs versus Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Can the Chiefs continue to be undefeated this season? I'll take Kareem Hunt, 0.5 rush reception touchdowns. He's been on a nice roll. Cade Otton, the Buccaneers tight end, 5 receptions. We'll take more there. Rashad White, one of the 3 running backs on the Buccaneers. I'll take 0.5 rush reception touchdowns. I'll take more there. And you'll like this, Bo. Patrick Mahomes, who has been on a interception roll. I'll take 0.5 interceptions. I'll take more. Chances are he won't throw an interception. But I'm feeling a little good right now about the way he's been playing.
Is that like the closest you've ever been to negativity?
Yes. It's me being optimistic about negativity. It's rare.
Yes. Interesting. Okay, I see it. You think it was like a twin bed?
They're just, you're in the same room. You know, I don't understand it.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for joining us here on The Right Time. Be sure to check out The Right Time YouTube channel for exclusive YouTube-only content. We do this here 3 times a week. Sean, you handles everything behind the scenes. Thank you, sir. Also, thank you to our If You Haven't Heard contributors. Thanks to Kenny Torreya of Vox. Check out his story on fish farming and its supposed sustainability at Vox.com. Thanks to Eve Upton Clark of Insider. Check out her story on Gen Z's obsession with fragrances at Insider.com. And thanks to Dylan Matthews of Vox. Check out his story on the election betting craze at Vox.com. Remember, follow The Right Time. Subscribe, like, rate us, review us. Give us 5 stars. You only give us 4 stars. I'm inclined to believe you are a hater. And we'll talk to you guys in a couple of days. Take it easy.